Hey, what's up guys? It's Flex and welcome back. As you guys know, I've already installed a really cool ambient light kit for my 2016 Mercedes-Benz C300 and it came out awesome. Definitely go and check out that video in the link below. But in today's video, I want to do the same thing, but for my 2015 Audi A4 S-Line. I think this car definitely needs an update in the interior, definitely if I want to bring it to the same level of the cars of today. So in today's video, I'm going to install a full color changing ambient light kit on this car. And I want to thank DMP Car Design for sponsoring this video and providing me with the product. And if you want more information on the product in this video or for other vehicles, use the link in the description below. So now let me show you the product and then we'll get to the install. So here's the entire ambient light kit. Let me walk you through each of the pieces, starting with this. So this is the main wiring harness. This connector here will plug behind the radio. And if you follow the wire here, this box will send the signal to the ambient kit for color change and brightness. And if you follow the wires down, there's 4 connectors here to ambient accessories. So this one here will plug to this ambient dash trim. This has this nice carbon fiber effect and the S-Line logo and these stripes will light up. This connector here will plug to this connector here, and these are the ambient footwell lights. These two aren't going to be used, but they can be expanded for future ambient products. So now let's get to the doors. These are the door wiring harnesses. They're all the same. And this box right here is a receiver. It'll receive instructions on the color and brightness from the main box here, and that will light up all the different pieces. So this is the door pocket light in the bottom. This is the door handle light. And this connection right here will plug to the door trim. And this trim piece is also a carbon fiber effect with a light strip. So the door kits are powered up by tapping into a connector in the door control box using this connector here and this connector here. So now let's go ahead and get this installed on the car. To test the ambient kit, I need to first remove the glove box to get to the connector right behind the radio. Removing this is actually pretty easy. There's one bolt right here in the side. There's 2 bolts on the bottom, one here, and when I open up the glove box, there's about 7 or 8 bolts all inside here. And they're just standard 8mm bolts. And once they are removed, I can basically just pull down on the glove box and it should hang right down. Now I can get to this connector right here. So I'm going to pinch the connector and pull it off. Now I'm going to grab the main wiring harness right here. And I'm going to take the yellow connector and plug it into the spot where I pulled the red connector out of. Next, I'll take the red connector that I pulled off and plug it to this black connector on the main harness. Now I need to set up the box. The box has some pins on the side and they have to be 1 is down and 2, 3, and 4 are in the up position. To test the kit, I have the dash trim connected to the main harness. Now I can go ahead and turn on the car. And this should light right up. There you go. Now let me show you how I control the colors and the brightness. To control the brightness of the kit, I'm going to hold down this mode button and at the same time scroll up or down on the volume knob. As you can see here, I'm scrolling down and it will dim until it's off, and then I can scroll up and it'll get brighter. To control the color of the kit, I'm going to hold down the mode button and scroll up and down on this knob. And as I scroll through it, you can see the kit cycle through all the different colors of the ambient lights. So installing this dash trim is pretty easy. I'm going to first disconnect it from the main harness. I'm going to set it aside. Now I'm going to remove this using a trim tool. I'm just going to pry up on it and it should pop right off. Just like that. Now I'm going to grab the new ambient trim piece and I'm going to run the wires through. And this piece should actually snap right into place. And now I can connect the wire to the main wiring harness. Here's the footwell lights with the main connector in the center. I'm going to plug that to the main wiring harness. And if I follow the wires, the first footwell light here will be used for the passenger front footwell light. And that's going to be installed right here. And if I keep following the wire, the next light, this will be for the driver's side. And then the other two on the other side will be for the rear lights. So here is the stock footwell light. I'm going to start by disconnecting it. Then I'm just going to push it through and it should pop right off. Now I'm going to grab the new footwell light and I'm just going to stick it inside. And then from the other side, I'm just going to snap it into place. Now I can go ahead and focus on the driver's side. So I had to remove the stereo in order to have more room behind the radio. This way I can run the wires from here to the center, then to the driver's side. But to remove the radio is pretty easy. I use these special keys that I insert into these little slots. And as soon as they clicked into place, I just pulled the radio right out. So in order to run the footwell light, I need to first disconnect it. And then right here, I have a long piece of plastic tie wrap that I already went ahead and cut off the end right here. And then I'm going to take the connector and I'm going to tape it to the end of the tie wrap. So now that it's taped up, I can go ahead and start routing it from the passenger footwell to the center behind the radio, and then to the driver's side. So to route the wire to the driver's side, it was a little complicated. I had to remove the cover here, right underneath the steering wheel. It's actually pretty easy to do. There's only 3 8mm bolts that holds it in place. One here, and one right on the side here. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the stock footwell light. And then I'm going to push the old footwell light out. And now I'm going to grab the new one, just stick it into the hole, and then from the other side, clip it into place. Now I can go ahead, put this back together and put the radio back inside. So now the radio is back in. I reinstalled the glove box and these are the rear lights. I'm going to go ahead and run this wire here all along the edge here to the back of the seat using this trim tool. As you can see here, I just finished routing it behind the seat. Now I need to remove the old footwell light right here. I'm just going to reach in and press down and it should pop right off. There you go. And then I'm just going to disconnect it. So I took the connector off the light. I'm going to route the wire first, just over and through the hole. And now I can connect the light to the wire and then snap it right into place. For the other footwell light, I routed it around here, out here. I took out the stock light. I ran the wires for the new light, and now I just need to install the light to the wire and pop it into place. The first step is to remove the door panel. I need to first remove this trim using a trim tool. I'm just going to pry up on it and it should actually pop right off. Now I'm going to remove this piece right here, also using a trim tool and prying away starting from the center. Now I'm going to use my Torx screwdriver and I need to remove 5 Torx screws. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, and one at the bottom here. Now that the screws are removed, I'm going to use a pry tool to pry all along the bottom of the door panel and pull it off. Now I need to lift the panel up to release it. And I'm going to pull off this connector here. And for the door handle wire, I'm going to slide this white piece back, and then I'm just going to pull the wire right off the door. Now the door panel is completely free. So here's the door wiring harness. These connector here will need to go to this connector right here. So I'm going to first start by pulling off this connector. Just going to pry it open, lift up the red tab. I'm going to squeeze the tab and pull the connector right off. So this connector is actually made of 2 connectors. These wires are connected to a separate connector right in here. So I'm going to lift up on this tab and then pull the connector right up. Now for the wiring harness, this connector right here will plug to this one. And this connector right here will slide into this one. So before I actually slide it in, I had to do a modification. It actually comes with like these extra plastic prongs that I had to clip off in order for the connector to fit into the wiring harness connector. But once I was able to slide it into the connector, I'm going to take that connector and plug it back to the car. As you can see, now the lights will power up I'm going to start the install by doing the door pocket light here. I'm going to disconnect it from the main harness. And now I need to drill a hole in the door to accommodate this plastic piece. So right here is the brand new hole. I'm going to take the light and run the wire through. And then I'm going to push on the plastic piece of the light right into the hole. And there's the light. Now I need to install the door handle light here. So this is the stock light tube with the stock connector. I'm going to grab it and pull it right off. And now I'm going to pry off the stock light tube. So the new ambient light right here has this little nub. And it needs to go in here, but there's nothing to install it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a drill with a drill bit the size of the nub right here. And I'm going to drill into the top of this about halfway down. And then I'm going to pull this white tab off and this will stick right into the hole. Now that the ambient light is installed, I can install this light tube right back onto the door. So right here, this wires to the door handle light. This connector here should actually plug to the door pocket light that I have down here. So I'm just going to make that connection now. And now the last piece I need to do is the door trim light. So here's the door trim light. I'm going to run the wire through this hole. However, I'm not going to be installing it yet because I still need to install the screws here to mount the door panel to the door. So for right now, I'm just going to connect the light to the door wiring harness. And once that's done, I can reinstall the door panel onto the car. So with the door panel installed, I can reinstall the screws. And now I can clip the door trim piece right into place. And once that's done, I can reinstall the rest of the door screws and covers, and now I can do the same exact process for the remaining 3 doors. So here's the rear door. Again, it installs just like the front door, and the harness will connect to this connector right here. And this is the same exact looking connector like in the front door. Okay guys, here's the final product. Bam! Check that out. Check out that LED strip. It looks awesome. There's a door handle light, the door pocket light, and the floor lights. Let's take a look at the front door. Bam! Right there again. It looks awesome. And of course, let's get inside And here's the dash trim light. Looks great. Now let me control it a bit and show you guys the brightness and the colors.
Well, there you have it. Another really cool mod from DMP Car Design. It really enhances this car and I love it. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button below. As always, make sure you subscribe and I will see you next time.